Nice to see you again.
Wonderful to see you. And I see the background looks like the city I want to visit again soon.
Yes, actually, it's on the back is the Central Market and the Watanabe Tower. And so, uh, actually, now we are in the with quiet, we are in lockdown, but
Mm,
Phnom Penh and Tokyo, we are working
yes.
together again.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Uh, Thank you very much for willing yourself to join this talk on 3V of communicating with impact.
Hmm.
So today we're gonna talk on visual, vocal, and verbal of communication. So would you please give a brief on the 3V of communicating with impact?
Sure. So this is my very favorite topic to talk about. And maybe even before I start, I should ask about how long we have today. Maybe 20 minutes or so is your thinking? 20,
We
25,
will have 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay, great. So
Yes.
so the thing is with these three V's, I'm good to talk about them for 30 minutes. 3 minutes, 30 minutes, or 30 days. so so each of the three V's and what these are, so these are the three V's of impact for communication. They stand for first, as you said, if we want to go in that order, that's fine. Visual. Second is vocal. And third is verbal. And they're connected very directly with what your audience sees and hears from you. So that's how I want to frame this whole thing. This is an impact. You're going to use these three V's, the visual, vocal, and verbal, in order to make an impact on a specific audience. And they're connected because this is what your audience has. The only tools you have to communicate with that audience has their ears. So they're going to be listening to you. They're going to listen to what you say. They're going to listen to how you sound. And they're going to be looking and seeing how you look to them. How do they see you, right? This is all we have. This is what we call um, there's a term they use it in engineering sometimes, MECE, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. It means these are separate. So what you see, what you hear, and how you sound. So these are three different things, right? They're separate, but they're also they include everything. There's nothing missing here. Some people in California say that we should speak more about our vibe, but that's how we're going to tie it all together at the end is the vibe. But yeah, it's how you look, how you sound, what you say. The three V's: vocal, visual, vocal, and verbal.
Okay, Andrew. So why is it uh, written that way? I mean, starting from visual,
Ah,
vocal, and verbal. Why is it arranged that way? Is it because of the importance of visual, the most important one, or is
yes.
there anything, any meaning behind it?
Yeah, exactly. So the way I often, if I'm asked to speak on this or if I'm teaching a seminar, we often start with verbal. We go verbal, vocal, visual. But the reality is, according to much research, and you could do research yourself, uh, the visual is by far the most important impact that you can make in face-to-face communication. So obviously, if it's over the phone, even over the internet, it's difficult to know right now how much the visual impact is. But if I were speaking to you right there in Phnom Penh, or if we were together here in Tokyo, or if I was in front of a group of people, the single biggest impact is the visual impact. And this has been duplicated many times with research, but Albert Morabian, PhD from UCLA, conducted early research on this called silent messages. And he was checking about what is the impact that people have on others interpersonally when the messages don't match. So, for example, this is why I say you could test this yourself. If you were to ask me how I'm feeling, and if I'm smiling brightly, and I say, I feel terrible. It doesn't match. And we will always trust the visual over the vocal or the verbal. And we trust the vocal second. So if we go in that order, the visual, vocal, verbal, it's most impact to least impact. How I look is really going to tell, you know, eyes don't lie.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So why is visual is the most important one? And when you start communicating with the people, how do you prepare the visual to be, to get more impact or most impact in your communication?
So this right here, I love that you asked it that way, because how do you prepare? So how do most of us prepare? We think about the slides, right? We often use presentation slides these days, PowerPoint or Keynote. We make some visual aids, and that's, we know very often that's what the audience sees, even sometimes bigger than we are, right? This happens over the Zoom meetings. This happens WebEx, so the platforms that we have. It happens in real life when we're giving a presentation. Very often, we are standing in front of a room and there's a huge screen behind us, and that's even bigger than what we are. So our audience is seeing slides. And so, Pete, the reason I love and a little bit hate talking about this topic again is just yesterday, I attended a leadership forum meeting for the American Chamber of Commerce in Japan. And I'm not going to name names of the speakers, but I'm naming the organization that I've been a proud member of for 25 years or more. It's a shame what people are doing over when they give presentations. They think about the slides they're making, and they make these slides filled with text, lots and lots of text. And the slide comes up on a screen. The person's face is now reduced to a little icon in the corner. And then they start talking about not exactly what's on the slide, in general, what's on the slide, but not word for word, because I guess they've learned in the past it's not good to read a slide. Well, yeah, it's not good to read a slide, but it's even worse to not read the slide, have a bunch of text, and people are just trying to follow. They cannot follow. So the visual part of what your audience sees, partly and in a big way, it's you. So what are you showing them? You know, how you're dressed, how your gestures, how you're smiling, if you're looking at them, your eye contact. But much of what your audience will see is slides. If you're using slides, you need to have pictures, big, bright. If you have a couple of words, that's fine, but not a bunch of text that then you're saying something else. That's what I saw a lot of yesterday. People would put up a slide that has like a paragraph or long sentences, and then they talk about something else. I don't know what they're expecting the audience to do. Are they supposed to read this, or are they supposed to listen to you? And it's amazing. I guess people have not gotten this through their head. It is impossible. You cannot read and listen at the same time. You just can't, unless you're listening to what they're reading and it's exactly the same words. So that's my big issue of how you prepare what your audience is going to see. I want you to think carefully about that. Put yourself in the audience position. The audience doesn't know what you're going to talk about, right? Only you know what you're going to talk about. And if you talk about something and something else is on a slide, that's the biggest mistake. And I've seen it over and over again. I've trained some of those very people who did it yesterday, and it makes me want to just scream.
Okay, so very good point, Andrew. Thank you very much for that you raised this issue, and I think very important lesson learned. In getting into the visual part, so can you give a few points that okay, this is very important to
Sure.
make ourselves ready. For example, we got to present ourselves. I mean, one visual is ourselves. Another visual is the slide, the PowerPoint. I think
Yeah.
now people like to present with the slide.
Yeah.
So are you talking about these two kind of visual and how we should be get it ready? And is it should it be synchronized with each other?
Yes. So they definitely should complement each other. That's why originally we called these things the slides or other useful visual aids, right? We call them visual aids, so helpers of the speech. But a lot of times they're not. I call them visual uh, obstacles because they get in the way of the communication. Um, but yes, you do want them connected. And what we often see, by the way, you'll probably see this a lot, and it happens with group presentations or individual presentations. The presentation becomes like a slideshow of a like a vacation you took. Maybe you took a family vacation into the countryside, or you went on a ski trip, or you did something, you went away, you took a whole bunch of pictures, and now you're going to show them as a slideshow. We used to use real slides for that, but you imagine pictures and you're going through, and the picture comes up, and then you say, oh yeah, that was when we had the dinner at such and such a place. That was really fun. And okay, next, what's the next slide? Oh, here's the next slide. That's not how you want to work with slides. If you're presenting to an audience, you want to introduce the slide and guide the audience to look at what you want them to see. So you would say something like, on this next slide, I'm going to show you a pie chart of how we spent our money last year. You'll notice that the biggest expense was in people. Boom. Then I hit the slide. Now the slide comes up, and guess what I do? I shut up. I don't say anything for 15 seconds, 10 seconds. I just introduced the slide. Now the slide is up. I've told the audience what to look for. I pause. Then I come back and say, so as you saw, then we talk maybe about that topic, right? That issue. And I might even then blank the slide after they've seen it, because I want them focused again on me. I don't want them just looking up at a slide. And again, we don't control that in this environment with WebEx or Zoom, or the audience is controlling how they are seeing you. And some of them don't know how to do it. So yesterday, people were speaking, and I'm sure they even had to make a comment because people were saying, I cannot see the slides. Well, right, you can't. And even if you set it perfectly, you still can't if you don't make them big and bright and beautiful. And you need to ask yourself. So first you write the presentation, right? First you have an outline, you've thought about what you're going to say. You work on that. Then you prepare slides for some topic or some point if a slide would help to illustrate that better. It's no need to just show your audience the outline of your presentation or show your audience the text of what you're speaking, right? I might want it, but if I'm talking about, for example, visual, verbal, and vocal, or the senses, 5 senses, for example, and I have a pie chart, it might be good to show the pie chart with one part of it is with my ear, a big ear, one is the eyes, one is the mouth, right? And again, see the relative importance, which we didn't mention. It goes deep in the research of Morabian, but his research showed that over half, so 55% of the impact is visual, and that 38% is vocal and only 7% is verbal. But the thing is, we can't start our preparation with the visual. And that's another big mistake people do. And I blame PowerPoint for this for one reason, and that is because people sit down at the computer and PowerPoint even prompts them, says, hey, now you're ready to start your presentation, and you're starting to make slides. No, that's not when you're making a presentation. So you want to make a presentation imagining there were no slides, and then put in the slides that could help your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. Actually, this is a very, very good point and very useful when presentation, because currently, people deal with all this kind of thing, and they want to make sure that the audience understand. Sometimes I feel like, oh, what I'm looking at, because some people, they even don't show their visual. They just talk talk, and then they turn like currently, some people don't, they want to hide themselves while
Yes.
talking. And even in
Yes.
Zoom, even in Google Classroom, I see that.
You're exactly right. So that's what I
Yeah.
wound up asking myself. Why are they doing this? Are they trying to hide themselves? Another reason they might be doing it, they want to try to prove they did the work. So the more I write, the more I show slides, well, this means that clearly I've done the research. Well, that's fine for like a handout material or follow-up questions. You can provide that. But if we're talking about making impact in the moment with somebody, I mean, can you imagine if you were ready? Now I'm celebrating my 21st anniversary today, and I could you imagine if when I went to meet my wife and ask her to marry me, I said, well, first I've got a PowerPoint slide presentation I've prepared. I want to introduce here's our plans for our future, or here's what I think we can do. People want real connection. They want real communication. And these
Oh,
slides should help us.
congratulations, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you. It's easy for me to remember the year because I got married in the year 2000. So every year I know it's that year. 2021 must be 21 years.
So it's a great, yeah, it's a great day for you. I hope you will have a very
Yes.
wonderful dinner
Yeah,
out in
I hope
Tokyo.
so. I hope so, but none of the restaurants these days don't. They're closing again, or they're saying no alcohol. So we would not have any champagne or wine at our dinner, and like maybe we have to bring our own.